now that we have done our additive work, we're going to be trying out some carving on the surface. And the subtractive method is considered carving, and there's lots of different ways that you can do it. I'm also going to show you a little bit about press textures. So I just want to show you what I have so far, and you can see I've done all my additive work there. I feel like I'm ready to move on, and also I'm ready to move on because my clay is leather hard, and having leather hard clay is clay that is good for carving but no longer that great for adding, you know, slipping and scoring and stuff. So you can tell that it's leather clay by if you bend it, like it's no longer gonna be giving you like a shape, it's gonna be breaking off. And I'll come around and show you guys what that feels like. Okay, so lots of different carving tools, lots of different textures, but right before I start getting into all of these things, I'm going to take out these paintbrushes that I have here to show you how to clean up your work. Craftsmanship, or also considered the degree of perfection, is very important in my class, and it takes effort towards it, okay? Clay is always going to start out crude or rough no matter what you do. It's just a part of the process. Every clay artist goes through this. You just have to clean it up. So if you take a paintbrush, and I brought over just a little bit of water, you can get a little bit of water on your paintbrush. When I say little, just a little. And you are going to basically, anywhere there's like little crumbly pieces or the edges kind of got messed up, or maybe even slightly misshapen, you can clean that up. I'll show you right here, I have a scoring line that I do not want to show in the artwork. So I'm just gonna take my paintbrush and get that all nice and cleaned up. Again, this is a very important step. I've done a lot of cleaning already, so I'm not going to be doing that during this demonstration much, but I will once I start carving. Okay, so clay needs to be leather hard, and let's try a couple of these tools. So these are called wire loop tools. You can see there's a large one, and there's two here that are circular, or that are pointed or triangular shaped, and then a circular one. Some of these are really good for just carving out lines. So I kind of drew on mine some spots that I want to carve out, and I haven't continued my design yet. So I used a pencil to just do that. So when I'm carving, and I'll show you up close once I get it started, I'm holding this tool like a pencil, and I'm also placing my hand on the board or on something, and not just like up here freehanding it. You'll run into issue, and I'm actually gonna grab this smaller one, okay? So I'm gonna use the tip or the point of it, and I am pulling back towards my body at a consistent speed. The clay should peel away like this. If it is not, it's too wet, and it'll be a lot of work to clean it up if you start too early. It's not impossible, but it takes a lot more effort on your part. So you can see I just carved like a little line there. What I actually want is this whole entire shape to be removed. So instead of just having line work there, I am going to take another carving tool. Sometimes you can get away with this big tool to get it really quickly. I am going to use this one. It has like a flat edge, and it's just easier to kind of pull back. Okay, so I'm going to hold the tool like a pencil, and I'm just going to slowly like carve it down. You can also see my other hand is kind of supporting the clay as I'm doing this. That way it doesn't shift around on me, and I have the most control that I can. Okay. All right, I'm gonna show you what this looks like. And I am probably gonna go down a little bit deeper for time's sake. I am not gonna do that in this video, but you can see there's a little bit of depth now. That whole shape is removed. I'm probably gonna go down slightly more. If I go down too far, you run into the risk of the tile being too thin and being fragile. I've had students where they actually cut out, not this whole shape, but cut out a little bit maybe on the edge to create negative space. So I'll just show you this one. You can see like it's kind of cut out. You can use a carving tool for that, and you can also use a clay knife, which is in your bin. Some of them are sharper than others. Okay. Another tool that you can use is a scoop tool or a hook tool. Looks like a hook, okay? This is actually best for line carving. So when I'm doing it, again, my hand is balanced and I'm just pulling back towards my body. Take your time on this because messing up is a little bit annoying to fix it. Which brings me to my next point. As your clay is starting to dry, it's becoming more and more and more fragile. Okay, these pieces, when they start turning like a lighter gray, and there's no water left in it, it's called bone dry, and it is its most fragile state that it can be. And even just like touching that a little bit, those could pop off. So if you have a real fragile design, for example, this one is really fragile. There's so much negative space kind of in these areas. I was definitely nervous making those and wondering if they were gonna stay on, okay? Let's see. Okay, textures. So I wanted to show you how to carve texture. This area around this piece is all carved out. I just wanted a texture. I wasn't gonna do anything else in that area. Another one I did that's very intricate that did take a while is this like cobblestone texture. It's also just a carving, but there's a lot more of it, so it creates a really nice texture, okay? So I have a scrap piece of clay. I would highly recommend doing something like this because as soon as you put it on your tile, it's a little bit harder to take away. And you have to, it takes a second. You can do very simple things. So like the end of really any tool you can try and just like press the texture, okay? So that's very simple to do. I used varying sizes of paintbrush ends to make these holes there, or pressed in circles. I can also make these really close together, which gives you a really nice texture as well. You guys can see that. I also have a scoring tool. I was just gonna show you. Using a scoring tool, you have to kind of be careful with it, but because it can tend to look kind of messy sometimes. But I've done this texture where lots and lots of little tiny little holes kind of breaks up the surface and gives you a nice like texture there, okay? Just to show you, like, you can do lots of different things with that. All right, want to show you one more, and that's how I made this one here. Took a carving tool like this. What's really cool about this process is you literally just overlap your lines. You don't have to be careful with it too much. And harder pressure, less pressure will give you a deeper and thicker line. I can also use the thicker carving tool. And once I take my paintbrush with, again, a little bit of water on it and smooth that out, you're getting like almost like this tree bark kind of texture, okay? So there's lots of things you can do. This is just touching the surface of things you can do. So try to play around and see what works for your tile. And I just wanted to show you cleaning up on this. So this part is a little bit rough. I would probably, like I said, I'm gonna carve it lower, but I would clean up my lines. After I'm done doing that, I can take this paintbrush, sometimes giving a little even more pressure will really get that line nice and clean. Okay, so let's see what you can do with the depth of the surface.